The city has opened 3 warming centers tonight so vulnerable people can get out of this cold. One of them is located at Metro Hall at 55 John Street. The other 2 locations are at Mitchell Field Community Center in North York and Scarborough Civic Center. All facilities provide snacks, washrooms, and referrals to an emergency shelter to help those experiencing homelessness. And for more on how vulnerable Torontonians are dealing with the weather, I'm joined by Diana Chan McNally, Harm Reduction Case Manager with All Saints Toronto. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You deal specifically with homeless people who experience the ongoing crisis. Tell me about the challenges they face when storms like this hit our city.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. Right now, obviously, there is trouble with people being mobile on the streets. It's hard to get anywhere. And so for folks who are unhoused, yes, we have 3 warming centers that are opened up, but we also have to realize that between those 3, we only have 112 spaces, whereas we have 10,000 to 18,000 people experiencing homelessness in the city at any given time. So we're talking about people who are right now effectively stranded outdoors, who may be trying to reach a warming center or else some other form of de facto shelter. And we know that people have a tendency to take shelter on the TTC, in hospitals, as well as in 24-hour coffee shops like Tim Hortons.
And you touched on the lack of spaces available. Let's expand on the warming centers here and other resources provided by the city for the homeless community. We know tonight, as you said, at least 3 of those are open to accommodate those in need. Is it enough, and is enough being done at them?
Absolutely not. Not enough. Not by a long shot. If we're talking about other services that are available, you're saying that these warming centers can provide referrals into emergency shelters. Well, we only have about 9,000 spaces. I just told you that we have over 10,000 people experiencing homelessness. So we have a lot of people who are not going to be able to access that indoor space. So what else are we providing? Now, before the pandemic, we actually had 24/7 drop-in centers. In 2019, we had 8 of them, and they were opening up in inclement weather, but also just all year round. And they had about a capacity of 900. So anyone who was outdoors, who for some reason couldn't access any other spaces, they had somewhere to go. And right now we're fighting for that kind of space to be reinstated because as it stands, people are stranded.
And these spaces at the moment are only particularly opening up. The 3 that we're talking about opened up just about 8 minutes ago at 7 o'clock tonight. So also very limited timing as well. How important is addressing mental health on the streets of Toronto and finding long-term solutions as well as short-term ones, of course?
It's a huge issue. If you are unhoused, you're spending days, weeks, years, sometimes decades out on the street. That has a profound impact on your mental health. Just think about you've ever been locked out of your house, even for a couple of hours, the kind of anxiety you're feeling around that. Now, just picture that being every single day of your life. But that said, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to access a lot of the basic resources we come to take for granted. A shower, a hot meal, somewhere warm where you can sleep at night. A lot of these things are actively missing. So if you weren't living with mental health issues before you became homeless, you assuredly will live with them through becoming homeless. So it absolutely does exacerbate people's mental health issues and has actually created this crisis that we're seeing on the streets right now.
And in terms of solutions, what more can we done? You have, of course, mentioned 24/7 shelters and not just opening when the bad weather hits.
Yeah, we do need to invest in these kinds of spaces, but more broadly, the solution actively is housing. Having access to these basic social determinants of health, like good food, a roof over your head, means that you can stay healthy, stay well, get a good night's sleep, and absolutely be able to mitigate any mental health issues that you may be living with. So we need to invest in these kinds of spaces, but more broadly in things like income supports, housing, food, etc., in order to address the crisis. And frankly, that isn't being done. And if we look at the kinds of mental health supports that are available, there just aren't many that are very accessible or low barrier for people who are experiencing homelessness. Most of the mental health services that we have available are pretty gated and targeted largely toward people who are middle class and have less prevalent issues.
A very important discussion, not just on tonight, but of course with the ongoing crisis on our streets. Harm Reduction Case Manager with All Saints Toronto, Diana Chan McNally, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.